This movie filled me with performance anxiety.
Yeah.
I've decided that's what it's really about. Do you think that's what it's about?
I mean, I think it's somebody's desire to be great, and I think as an audience member, you're really dropped into a point where he's possibly giving up on it. In the script, there's a point early on where he actually goes to transfer, and J.K. Simmons brings him into the office and kind of through some through the conversation, he ends up saying, we'll go with your first instinct. I saw my first instinct isn't to transfer, but I just think it's a movie about such like passion and determination, and if you have one thing in your life that you're half as passionate about that Andrew is about drumming, then I think you have, I think you're pretty lucky. It's this kid who's really not gonna stop, no matter how much J.K. Simmons' character tries to just like beat him down and break him down. He's not gonna quit.
You hold up to him very well, though.
Thank you.
He could have really. I mean, as an actor, I mean, that's tough.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and that's kind of what, as far as Andrew's concerned, Andrew's absorbing it all, but instead of just crumbling into a ball and quitting, he makes copies of the sheet music, and he brings his mattress down to the practice room, and
So when you were a jazz drummer at NYU?
I was a rock drummer. At NYU I did theater, but I got a drum set when I was 15, and I played in some bands. I took my drum set with me to college. I had a very small dorm, and I had my drum set there, and then I took my drums out to LA with me, and I've always had them around if somebody played guitar and wanted to play with me.
But this required a little more.
Yeah, this was really tough. I'd never played jazz drums before, and I think that's the highest form of drumming.
And did you when you were practicing, and was there ever real blood?
Yeah. I remember when I first started getting my first blisters from practicing, and they were bleeding, and I actually had to use Band-Aids when I was practicing before the movie started, that I told Damien that, oh, it's real. Because he would always have blood on the drum. When we were filming, he'd have blood on the drums, and I was like, is this too much? And he said no. And then once I really started training and practicing as much as I could, I started getting the battle scars.
So this kind of thing is also true of acting and your mission as an actor.
Yeah.
When did you find that?
I did. In high school, I started doing plays. Into my sophomore year, I did a play. I did Footloose, and I played Willard. And I remember being on stage and getting some laughs, and that was really intoxicating for me. I loved that. And then in between my junior and senior year of high school, I went to the New York Film and Television School for a 6-week intensive program. And I had this teacher there named Jay Goldenberg, who actually I think he coached John Cusack in Say Anything. And he had coached Bruce Willis at one point, Alicia Silverstone. And he was a New York theater guy. And when you do New York theater training, they're pretty ruthless. I mean, I would always, when I was in NYU taking classes, the teacher would always, you'd do a scene, and then the teacher would kind of strip you down in front of everybody. In a movement class, in a dance class, you always did it in front of people. It was never just you and the teacher. All your classmates watched. So if you didn't prepare, it would be the most insulting, most embarrassing thing to happen. So, and I never wanted that. And I was always, prepared. But yeah, I had a couple of theater teachers that were, but I don't want it to be sugar coated, because I think I'm my own worst critic.
That's good. I spoke to
Yeah.
Christian Bale recently, and I was struck by that. I was struck
Yeah.
by what a high standard he sets for himself. And at this stage of your career, when suddenly you've broken out and you've got an agent at CAA, and you've got all these people telling you how fabulous you are.
Yeah.
That's an interesting place to be.
Oh, acting is such a humbling job to have, because it's not, there is no 100%. There is no perfect actor. Everybody does something better than you. And I think for me, that's, as an actor, you want to feel like you can do everything, but you can't. And there's certain actors, that do stuff a lot better than me, and that's why I love you're just always trying to get better, and the more comfortable you feel in front of a camera, the more comfortable you're going to feel trying different stuff.
So you grew up in a family that was really loving the arts and loving music?
Yeah, my mom, I have 2 older sisters, and my mom's just always, she said at one point she wanted to have like a partridge family, which I think is pretty true because my oldest sister sings, and my other sister plays piano and clarinet, and I play like drums, piano, saxophone, guitar.
Wow.
And my mom loved, a lot of houses I would go to as a kid growing up, if there was a lot of noise, the mom would say, keep it down, do that outside. But my mom, my mom would be singing, my sister would be playing guitar, or my sister would be singing, my other sister would be playing the piano. And it was a very theatrical household, I would say.
So now I'm cutting your head off. Now, there we go. So no, you're fine. So you did Footloose in the end as a movie.
Yeah.
So you got to use some of your musical chops there.
Yeah, I love musicals.
I want you to do a musical.
I would love to do musicals. Shailene and I actually want to find like a musical to do. We want to find something like Once.
Exactly.
But I would do, at one point, Damn Yankees was floating around, and I played Applegate. I played the devil in high school, and that was one of my favorite parts.
It's one of my favorite movies. It makes me cry every single time.
Yeah.
I wish it would be coming back.
Yeah, I heard Jake Gyllenhaal and Jim Carrey at one point, and I thought that was good.
That could be commercial. It
Yeah,
could work.
that could be commercial. Yeah,
That's the problem.
I know.
Yeah. So Divergent. Well, now I want to go back to Rabbit Hole. That's where I discovered you.
Sure.
And that was an amazing thing you did there.
Thank
that
you.
was like literally the first thing you've done, aside from a couple of shorts and a
a
TV
couple
show.
student films. Yeah.
Yeah. So how did they find you?
That was pretty terrifying when we actually filmed it, but they did. I guess they saw kind of all the usual suspects or all the actors that were working, and they couldn't find any. So then I got an audition for it, and I auditioned for the casting directors, and then I went to the callback, and I remember the callback, taking the elevator up and seeing Juliette Lewis in the waiting room. And that was the first famous person I'd ever seen in real life, and I remember just sitting there for a little bit and trying to go over my lines and being nervous for my audition, but I said I loved you and the other sister. I said the movie makes me cry every time I see it. And and then I went in there for John Cameron Mitchell, and we worked for like 45 minutes, and we did all 3 scenes on the park bench. And I thought I did pretty well, but I didn't. I thought it went pretty well. And then I got a call that night saying, "Okay, they really liked you. You're gonna have an audition with Nicole Kidman." I was like, "Oh my God, that's insane." They said John's gonna call you tonight and give you notes. Like, perfect. So I waited around all night and nobody called me, and I'm thinking that I didn't get it. This is Hollywood. This is how it goes. You think you're close, it doesn't happen. So the next morning I was shooting a student film in Brooklyn, and I'm at lunch, and my phone rings. It's John Cameron Mitchell. He says, "Hey Miles, how you doing?" I said, "Oh, John, I'm doing great." And I get out like a pad and paper to take notes, and he said, "I'm just calling you because I wanted to personally offer you the role of Jason." And I was just like, "That's awesome." I called my mom, and she was freaking out. My mom's a huge Nicole fan, and I still I remember that whole moment. I remember the whole moment. I remember that whole phone call, and then afterwards, and people in the student film were like, "That's incredible." But then it was like, "Oh shit! Well, now I have to actually now I'm actually going to be doing scenes with Nicole Kidman, and this is like the big time."
Now, you were playing someone who is very sad and very damaged, and you had experienced something pretty hideous in your life. Was that what you had to tap into?
Well, I didn't want, in Strasbourg, there's a technique you do, and it's like emotional memory stuff, and you're supposed to pick something that's pretty traumatic to you, but it has to be 7 years old.
So that was more recent.
Yeah, so when I did that, that was literally like a year. It happened it had happened a year before. One of my best friends passed away. His name's Bo Gass, which was 5 weeks after another one of our really good friends had passed away, Nick Burns. And I didn't go to therapy or anything. I'd kind of, I was going through it, and it was about a year later, and then we were doing the scene, and I remember John Cameron Mitchell coming over to me and saying, "I really need you to see your friend Bo here. When you're talking about this kid, I really need you to get there." And to be fair, I'm sure I was kind of tiptoeing around the material because I didn't, that was just not something that I wanted. I didn't want to substitute anything for my own life in there because I don't really use that method. And then also I just, it was a little too fresh. But at the end of the day, I think that, it worked, and John Cameron Mitchell's a great guy.
No, it did work. It was real. It was really real.
Because for that character, it's like the kid was carrying around so much guilt and it felt so bad, but I didn't want anybody to feel bad for me. I didn't want anybody to feel bad for Jason because I didn't want to steal any of this woman's pain away. I just wanted her to know, how sorry I was.
Wow. So you were in a car crash?
Yeah, I got in a bad car accident a year before my buddy's Bo Nick passed away in car accidents. My buddy lost control of my car going about 75 miles per hour, and we hit a grass median, and we flipped 8 times, and I flew out the window. And when
Which is where
all these scars come from. I have one on my shoulder. I have 2 rocks on my face. And when the car stopped rolling, my friend's driving, my other buddy's in the back. The car lands straight up, and they look in the passenger seat, and I'm not there. And they get out of the car, and I'm just laying like 25 feet from the car, unconscious, covered in blood. So when they first got out of the car and they see me, my buddy looked at me, saw my body on the side road. He just thought I was dead. He ran up to me, and I was like, I slit my lip open pretty good, so I was like coughing up all this blood. Yeah, it was pretty bad. But the EMT said 99.9% of the time, if you get ejected from a car while it's rolling, you're dead or paralyzed. So that's medical professionals.
Well, so you embrace life now.
Yeah.
In a big way.
Yeah, and my mom told me she's like special. I'm trying to think of the wording correctly, but great men overcome great obstacles. And so I never, I just looked at it as something to overcome. But yeah, when I first went in auditions, they would say, "Look, Miles is great, but we couldn't. Scars and stuff, they're not right for the character." Because they used to be a lot worse. They used to be a lot. Even if you watch Rabbit Hole, that's like 2 years after my accident. But they were, they're very red, and they looked very fresh, and people felt like the scars had to be justified in the story. But John Cameron Mitchell was like, "I love that. It tells a story."
I think it builds character too.
Oh, I love it.
It's all good. So, but it's interesting because you have been playing leading men, but they're not necessarily conventional leading men, and you've been playing a lot of comedy.
Yeah.
So it's good to see you back in a drama.
Yeah, I love, my favorite actors are dramatic actors, but I look at the guys I can go back and forth, also like Philip Seymour Hoffman or Dustin Hoffman or Tom Hanks. And so
it's a good place to be.
Yeah, exactly. Those are some of my favorite actors, and yeah, for me, it's like whenever I'm kind of doing comedy and people think I'm like that's what I'm going to do, well, you don't know this, but I've already filmed something. I've already been working on something. Or I've already been thinking about, something different that I want to do. And I'm interested by both. If I do a lot of comedy, I don't want to be funny anymore. It's like,
and now you've played a villain in Divergent.
Yeah,
right?
Now I've kind of played like a bullying, kind of snarky, egotistical, character.
And he's going to be in the next one too?
Yeah, he's in all of them. I'm alive. I live.
You live.
For all of them, yeah.
Okay. Good to know. I've only read the first book. I just bought the second one.
Me too.
Yeah.
I'll read the second one before production starts.
Good job.
Yeah.
Good job. All right. So let's go back to Whiplash before it's too late. What was the most, aside from the drumming, what was the most challenging scene for you? Where you had an anxiety attack?
Not a certain scene sticks out to me, but just the movie in general. It was both liberating that I didn't have many relationships with any other people. It was really kind of a relationship with J.K.'s character, and then really this internal journey that was going on. So it was nice that I could just kind of be in my own world. I've played a lot of characters that are, so clicked in. They're so connected to everything around them. And for me, it was nice to play somebody who's just, is just kind of in his own world. And
it requires that you transmit a lot of information silently.
Yeah. There's a lot of that.
There's a lot of
silence, a lot of, Damon used a lot of close-ups. And, but yeah, also I live in LA, so it's like I would film, and I'd drive my own car to set, and then I'd finish filming, I drive home. My roommates are, playing video games or drinking or playing music, whatever it is, and I just kind of had to shut myself down, or I had to shut myself off completely from everything. And it was pretty. It was nice because I didn't have anything to do, but I didn't have anything to think about except for this character and this story. So, yeah, but at the same time, it's like exhausting. Man. It's like to focus on one thing, or to just kind of like stay in that character for 4 weeks was a lot.
What's the difference?
Not a lot
between,
of sunshine in that movie.
What's the difference between being at Sundance a year ago and being there today? A lot has happened, huh?
Yeah, it feels good. I just love like actors. I love filmmakers so much. And when I was first coming up, you almost feel like you're at a party you don't belong to be at. You don't deserve to be at. And not that I'm more deserving now, but I feel like I've done some work I'm pretty proud of, and I'm like talking to filmmakers more, and it's in much more of like a collaborative way. I don't feel like I'm somewhere where I shouldn't. I feel more comfortable because I do want to act for a long time, and I do want to share movies with people. So to come back and be a part of it again and open the festivals, very rewarding.